Hello guys, welcome to this course. In this course, I will teach you how you can learn English 100% in just 20 videos. And if you are stuck, this is one of the best courses that you will ever take. From now, I will let you know that I am going to be talking super slow because I know that you may not be familiar 100% with the language. That's why I am not going to speed up or speak super fast because I know that you can get lost or lose yourself. I am going to give you every single tip that you need to learn the language, and not only this language, I applied the same advice for every single language that I have learned. In total, I know 5 languages: Italian, French, Portuguese, English, and Spanish. To learn those languages, I apply the same tips that I'm going to show you in the next videos and throughout the course. So before we start right away, I would like to let you know that in order to learn a language, you need to be focused on that all the time. So first of all, this course is destined to all the people that have a basic English or a basic knowledge on it. If you don't have any knowledge, I would recommend you to activate the subtitles so that you can understand every single thing that I am saying right now. Of course, if you are a beginner and if you don't know anything about the language, this course is going to be great because you are going to be able to learn from zero something that no one teaches, because the way I am going to teach you is not a normal way to learn a language. This is really different from all the schools around the world, or all the English schools, and all the people, all the teachers that try to teach you how to learn a language. So I am not saying that I consider myself as a different person or as a different professor, but the techniques that I'm going to show you are techniques used by all the polyglots around the world. What is a polyglot? It's a person that knows more than 5 languages. So those people are able to learn, including myself. We are able to learn a language in less than 7 months. So, uh, if I do my calculations, you are going to be able to learn English with the tips that I'm going to give you and in the next 20 videos in just 5 to 7 months. You just need to follow what I'm saying, and you just need to follow every single advice that I'm going to give you. So follow along, and also I would recommend you not to skip any homework that I'm going to provide to you, because it's really important for you to take every single task, read it, and at the same time be able to experience the same thing that we experience uh, when we talk in one language. Okay, so let's continue with the other image. Alright, so I have two main goals for this presentation, and I wanted to take these goals into consideration before we start the course so that you can know a little bit more uh, what this course is going to talk about and to whom it's going to be destined. So, of course, it's really important for the listener, in this case you, know what I'm going to talk about and how this course is going to be developed and how it's going to be divided. So let's go to the other picture. Alright, so in this slide, I'm going to show you the two main goals that I have in this course. The first one is learning how to use these methods by yourself. I know that I said it's an English course, but at the same time, it's a guide that is going to show you how you can be independent. You don't need to be dependent on me or dependent on someone when it comes to learning a language. You need to know how you can learn it from zero, from scratch, as we should say, and also you should know how you can finish the language. how you should finish the learning of the language. And the second goal is about giving you enough tools to speak like a native. Not only I'm going to show you how you can learn the language, but also I'm going to show you how you can have the same accent, because it's really important. If you go to a country, you want the other people to think that you are like a native because of the language, because of the beauty of your pronunciation. So let's go to the other slide. Alright, so here I put a phrase that says use this in your daily life and be in an English environment. Now, I know it's too difficult for us to be in an English environment, especially when we are not in the United States or England or any other country that speaks in English. So, for me, it was really difficult at the beginning, but I was able to know different techniques and different methods that allowed me to be in an English environment in my mind and in my house. So, I didn't know how to do it at the beginning, but later on the time, I found out that by only changing the mind uh, that you have uh, when it comes to the language, you can do a lot of things. And what I mean by that is that instead of thinking in your native language from now, you should think in English all the time. So whenever someone is talking to you in your native language, you should translate in your mind these words to English. It doesn't matter if you are answering to the other person in your native language. In your mind, you are translating everything in English so that when you talk in English to other people, the answers are going to be fast and direct instead of uh, like lasting too long answering to other people's questions. So that's the main thing that I did when I started learning English, and I was able to improve it a lot. And I saw a huge improvement within the first 2 months. So what I did first of all was talking to myself all the time in my room. Of course, all the devices that I had were in English, all the TVs were in English. Of course, you don't need to put every single device in this language. It's not necessary. But if you do it, of course, to learn the English, it's not going to take like 8 months, 9 months, or even 10 months, but it's going to take like 5 months. And after that, you travel to the country if you can. If you can't, there's no problem, because I thought I needed people to learn the language, but I was able to learn all those languages, Italian, French, Portuguese, without having people around me that is, that spoke the language. So the same happened to me in French. I did the same tapes, the ones that I told you before, and other ones that I want to tell you in the future, and I was able to communicate a message. So this is what I meant in this phrase. And in the next videos, we are going to start right away with the topic. See you in the next slide. Basic to advanced. Alright guys, so in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can use the same methods that all the polyglots around the world use when it comes to learning languages. So I know that you guys may not be beginners, you may be, in the middle point or a little bit advanced, and you want to improve your English even more because you are stuck. So I know that you guys know what is I am, here, there, you know about the verb ing, you know how to combine all the verbs. Let's say want with the ing, it would be wanting, and the same with I am going to, that this is for the future, also about I want to, I need to, and I have to. So if you don't know them, it's super simple. I am is used to describe yourself, to who are you, and those things can be easily learned in just by going to Google Translator, put I am, and you are going to see what it means in your language. But as I know that you guys have a basic level, I am going to pretend that you guys know this already. So when it comes to I am here, there, it's super important because this I am is not like in some languages because this I am has two uses. The first one is to represent who are you. Let's say in my name is Jairo, so I am Jairo. But it can also represent uh, any place or something like that. For example, I am there or I am in United States. So as you are seeing right now, this is the main way we should start off learning a language. So as we know the main things like I am, we don't need to learn anything about she is, he is, or we are, you are, it is, nothing like that. We are going to be focused in ourselves. So this is the way you should learn English from zero, learning I am, here, there. You need to know that the verb ing is going to modify the verb. What is a verb? Is want, need, have, go. So in this case, I am going to, I put that one there because I am going to is one of the phrases that we use the most. That's why I put that one there because we can describe almost anything with that, and we just need to add some vocabulary and some phrases next to the two. So as I know that you guys have enough knowledge when it comes to that, I will go to the next one. So these are the only two things that you need to start speaking English. You already know I am here, there, I am going to, I want to, I need to, I have to. So now you have the connectors. So what you are going to do right now is start making phrases by yourself. Of course, I know that many schools and many professors, teachers, they say that we shouldn't use Google Translator or any other translator to learn a language. But here, I recommend you to do so so you can have better results in advance exponentially, not little by little. Because if you advance little by little, it's going to be too slow and you don't want uh, to be learning this language during years and years and not have any result. So as you see right now, the connectors that I have for you are because, with, so, in, the, even, for. So you are going to repeat as I said them before so that you can, experience the accent and know a little bit more about that. You just need to go back to the part where I said the connectors and repeat them with me. So what you are going to do with these connectors is you are going to take in this slide these words I am going to, I want to. Let's say I want to. Let's take I want to. And let's start playing with the words. So I want to say I want to. Let's say that I am yourself practicing the language. So I want to start it right now. The way I study a language from zero is in this way. So I know I want to. So I'm going to look for a word in Google Translator. Let's say play. So I want to play. And now I'm going to use the connectors. I am going to play and I'm going to use with. So I already built a phrase. I am going to play with. Now I know the use of with because I translated that on my Google Translator. If you are not understanding anything, I will explain that in the future, but I hope you are getting what I am saying. So I want to play with, let me go to Google Translator, with whom? Let's say that I want to play with my cousin. In my case, I am going to Google Translator because I am pretending that I'm translating from Spanish to English. So I'm putting in Spanish what I want to say in English. In this case, cousin. I don't know how to say cousin in English, let's say, so I put in Spanish the word to uh, translate the word in English. So I already have one phrase. I want to play. Here, I want to play is a word that I took with my cousin. Wow, so I have already a phrase. I already I already built that phrase by myself. So you should continue in this talking by yourself. You need to talk. You need to improve your accent. You need to talk by yourself. So what you're gonna do right now is keep talking. So I'm going to use another one. I am going to let's say that I'm talking by myself. I am going to go. Uh, I am going to go. Uh, to my house because I want to use this because I already know I am, this is what I'm talking about. If you learn this, you can build phrases in advance exponentially. You can use, for example, this. I am going to. So I am going to my house uh, because or with, I can use this again, with my cousin. So I already know those words, so I just need to repeat them, keep building phrases. For example, you can look around. For example, I have a bottle here, so I want to say, let's say, I want to uh, drink water for, I want to use here for me. You see, bro, you can build these phrases super easily, and at the same time, you can do it during 1 hour, 30 minutes using your translator, and that's one of the best ways you can learn. And remember, we're just starting. We are not even in the middle of the course, and you already learned an incredible tool that is going to help you learn a language exponentially. So remember, start using these things, these phrases that I have for you. I'm going to, I want to, I need to, I have to. For example, I need to, we already pronounced go, so we already know about go. So I need to go to my house again, but this time I'm going to use in. So in the, and let me look for the word, in the afternoon. I want to go to my house in the afternoon. So that's the way you should do it. You need to look for the word in Google Translator. Try not to translate the whole phrase, but if you don't understand, you can translate the whole phrase and repeat. You need to see the structure. In this case, it's super easy. You are not going to have any problem with the structure because you know that uh, after going, you have here too. So I am going to, the only thing that you need to do is like, I wouldn't say memorize, but you understand what is I am. Here you have here, there, how you can change the verb. So in this case, you can easily place with the words. So in this case, I am uh, having, let's say have with the verb ing. I am having uh, I don't know, whatever, like you can start building as I did before. You can practice with this and you will see that you will have incredible results. I want to explain it to you in the future how I do it so that you can copy the same. So don't get scared if you didn't understand anything of what I said. So why do I say this is useless when starting? Is simply because as the verb to be is not useful for me because every single school around the world that teaches you English, they are going to start off talking about the verb to be, he is, she is, you are, we are, they are, and that is not the main way polyglots use to learn a language. That's why I already show you how we start learning the language, and you can see in just one day you can make a lot of phrases, you can repeat them, you can play with the words, you can talk uh, to yourself in your room, wherever you are, and you can advance exponentially. And you will see that just in 4 months, using that strategy, you will be almost a native. And you need to practice your accent. Of course, it is not going to sound natural, but after months of practicing, you will be able to sound supernatural. I know that right now I am using you are to talk probably. I am using it is. I am using will. I am using all the tenses and you may get confused. But this is normal. So I don't want you to be afraid because I want you to be independent. I don't want you to be dependent on me or dependent on whatever school that is trying to teach you. So, in the next slide, I want to teach you how you can start doing this directly, and I want to record myself doing this so that you can follow along, copy me, and also you can, start doing it by yourself, not having my help. Remember, if you want to learn a language, you don't want other people, in this case, myself, as a professor, you don't want myself to be teaching you all the time, all the time. No, I want you to discover the language, find it out. So start building those phrases, and I'm going to show you later how I can do it so that you can copy me. Alright, so okay, now what? What I want you to do is what I told you before. Use Google Translator and start talking to yourself, making the phrases with the two tables that I gave you, and also translating whatever word that you want, any word. So I want you to develop this habit, and also I want you to know that polyglots use this to learn exponentially. So this is going to be the homework, one of our first homeworks that I'm going to give you so that you can start applying those tips to yourself and also to, have a great progress and be able to express yourself in a different way. Also, if you talk to yourself and if you do it in this way, of course, in the future, when you go to any country that uh, is an English speaking country, you can be able to talk, show your voice with no fear because you did it before. Okay, guys, in this video, I want to show myself studying a language with the tools that I gave you. Okay, so I am gyro. So okay, I need to, let's say in my language, uh, alright, so I want to, let me see, go, okay, the verb is go, so I want to go to the park, connector, um, in the, I see, morning. Okay, so I want to go to the park in the morning. Um, let me see. Also, okay, I want to go to the park in the morning. Also, in the morning, I want to, let me see, eat. I'm going to go to the park in the morning. Also, in the morning, I want to eat. Um, because I am um hungry. Okay, so that would be a new word. So now I am hungry. Um, I need to eat. You see, I already knew the word eat because that's the one that I found out here. And with the word hungry, I combine hungry with I am and I form another word. The same with the pork. You see how it is working super fast? So um I am uh let me see this word. I am new. Uh Let me see the verb. So the verb is learn. So learn plus ing. So I am new. Learning. Let me see. So I am new learning languages. Also, remember that I used also before, so that's why I'm saying also. I am new learning languages. Also, uh, I am hungry. Also, I am gyro. Also, um, mm, I have to uh, um, go to the park. You know, repetition. Every time that I repeat these words, they are going to get in my mind. They are going to get stuck in my mind. That's what we want. So you are going to play with words like that. Talk by yourself. Let's continue with another one. And I am going to, um, let me see. I am going to, um, how can I say this word? I am going to run in the park, in the afternoon, um, um, let me see, Thursday. Okay, I am going to run in the park Thursday. I didn't say on because Google Translator didn't show me, but it doesn't matter. Those are mistakes that if you make those mistakes, they are too small, and in the future you can correct them. So let's say I don't know, I didn't say on. So I am going to run in the park Thursday. At least I know what I want to say, you know, and I'm explaining myself. So let's go with another one. Um, let's just I am here. So I am here. I am gyro. I need to go. Okay. I need to go uh for or I need to go uh because I am hungry. You remember that I used those words? That's what you should train. You remember that I put here hungry? This is the one that I already learned, so I'm just repeating it. And I'm saying words probably it's not going to have like too much logic when I talked, but in the future I am going to be able to build even more words, even more phrases, and I am going to express myself even more. So that's how I want you to train, and that's how I want you to start get used with the language with this method. Okay guys, how to master the past tense. As you guys know, we normally use I was and were for they were, we were, and the other subjects. But in this case, we're going to be focused on I was because that's the one that is going to represent ourselves and not talking about plural or other tenses that are more difficult. So in this case, we have I was. So, as you guys know, I was is just the past form of I am. As we saw in one of the first presentations, I show you how I am could be combined with I am going to or I am plus the verb. And I already taught you how to study and how you can advance exponentially. So in this one, I want to show you the same things I show you in one of the first presentations, but in the past form. That's why here we have I wanted to, I needed to, and I had to. That is the past of I have. So everything is the same. The only thing that is going to change is going to be the verbs. The verbs, and in this case, I am is going to change for I was. But after that, everything is going to be the same. The verbs ing are going to be the same because they are not going to change. So in this case, I wanted to, I needed to, and I had to. It's going to be the same as I want to, I need to, and I had to. I'm telling you that because I have seen and I saw in the past a lot of mistakes that many students did when it comes to these tenses because they they were confused just because they thought the past was super difficult and they were stuck in their minds and they couldn't advance. So here I'm making you this super simple so that you can understand and advance in a really practical way. So we have another verbs. Of course, we don't have uh, just these three: I want, I need, and I have. We also have go that in the past tense would be I went to, I did, and all those things because we have like 1000 verbs. It's not necessary for you to memorize these verbs, but it would be better if you can know how they work. You just need to see what is going to be uh, the form in the past. Let's say for want here, it would be wanted. We will have to add ed. For need, need needed, so it would be ed. For many verbs, you will see that you will have to add this ed. So what I did when I first started was I started adding just ed to all the verbs, even to go. So I didn't say I went, but I was saying I goat, just to learn them with ed. And after that, I changed the ones that were not with ed. Okay, so let's go to the other slide. So how are you going to memorize? I don't want to say memorize, but how are you going to study this? Is in the same way that you studied the present. So you are going to take the verbs, for example, do, the past is did, go, the past is went, make, the past is made, want, wanted, prepare, prepared, ask, asked, allow, allowed. So there's another big mistake that I have seen that many of my students have done. This mistake is that whenever they see this ed, they pronounce it. You shouldn't pronounce this ed all the time. You are going to pronounce this ed whenever you see this placed after a t or a d. After a t and a d. So in this case, want, we can pronounce it wanted. But here, the end word is not T or D. That's why we should pronounce prepared with this end, not with prepared. It's not prepared, it's prepared. The same here, asked. We don't have any T, any D. And allowed. We don't have any T, any D at the end. So what you're going to do is study in the same way that I showed you before. That's why here in the title it says use connectors. So you're going to put these connectors here in this arrow. How are you going to do that? In the same way. You go to the translator, and you start making phrases. So let's say you start with do. So I already know that do, the past is did. So I did my homework because the connector, because I wanted to study, you know you need to know that I used study after that, because if you translate it, you will see the logic. If you are not translating the words, you don't know what you are saying. So you need to translate that in your language so that you can handle the logic and so that you can know more about how it works. Here we have the verbs ing again, but in this case, we are going to study them in the past. So, as you can see, the first one is I was studying math. That is the past form of I am studying math. It's the same meaning, just that is happening or happened in the past. So, we have I was thinking about it, I was going to play, and I was making it. Here, I want to emphasize in this. These two that you can see here, I am pointing that out, goes if there isn't a verb after the verb most of the time. What I mean, it goes after the verb. Here you can see go is a verb, right? So here I was going to. We use this to because as you can see here, play is a verb too. So we have to use another we are using these two because we are using another verb. So in the next one, we are seeing how we didn't use any verb here because we didn't use any to here because there is no verb after that. For example, here, I was studying math. I would have to use the to if I had said I was studying to play. I was studying to learn. It would be different because there's a verb. So whenever it doesn't work like that most of the it works like that most of the time, but I just want to let you know this because you will have to use it whenever you see a verb after the verb. If you don't see a verb, you shouldn't use it because here, as you see, I was thinking about it, or I was studying math, or I was making it. So it's not necessary to use it. Alright guys, I'm going to show you how to study in this past tense and how you can apply the same things that I said in the previous videos. We're going to study the same way we did with the present. We're going to do it with Google Translate, and after this, from now, I will show you other techniques that you can use if you didn't like to use Google Translate. You can do it through videos, through articles, and through different ways that I will show you. Don't be afraid if you didn't master this Google Translate. We should do it, and you should too, because if you are able to master it, you are going to be able to speak faster with yourself and in the future in the United States or any country around the world that speaks in English. So in this case, we're going to use some connectors. Let's say, first of all, let's say that I don't know how to say something in, let me change the language here, sorry, Spanish. Let's say that I want to say something in the past. So I don't know how to say do in the past. So I am going to translate it in my language. So to in my past would be did, as you can see here. So as I already know the form, it is super easy for me to understand, and for you it would be easy too. So I did we would start with that. So we are going to continue with I did my homework. Of course, you don't have to write it. I'm writing it because I want to show you how it works. But for you, mostly, you need to speak. So I did my homework. We're going to use a connector. Because, let's say because, and let's use the other one that we already learned. Because I wanted, and as I told you, after a verb, we need to use to. because I wanted to do it. You know, I'm using this to because there is a verb after a verb. That's why I'm using it. Let's use another one. Let's say this one. This one is allow, and I want to know how can I say this one in the past. So it would be allowed. As I show you, you shouldn't pronounce the ed allow it in this case because the end is not d or t. In this case, permit, the past is permitted, you know, so you can pronounce it. So allow. Let me see. The past, I'm going to write it in my language. Allowed. So that would be the past. So I can start. Allowed. I allowed my father and let's use a connector. In this case, we're going to use with. Allow my father play with me. So that's the way you should make it. At this point, you should know how to do it. Right now, I'm taking too long to make one phrase because, you know, I need to imagine them. But if I were yourself, I would talk about whatever thing. You don't need to, like, take too long to make one phrase. You should just talk and talk. It doesn't matter if you make a lot of mistakes. I would be talking to myself all the time as I show you in the first part. So you can be talking, you can translate. For example, if you don't know how to say this word, you're going to look for it. So aloud. So you already have the word in your mind. So I want you to talk. I don't want you to be writing here things. No. I'm writing these things because I want to show you how it works. But I want you to talk more. So if you don't know the past of do, so you're going to write it in your language in the past because that's what you should do. Here, you're going to write it in the past did. So you can keep talking. Let's say that I want to say, I do my homework because I like it, but I don't know how to say do in the past. So I write it and I say it. That's the way you should do it. Alright, congratulations. With this information that I gave you, you have enough information to study like a polyglot. Of course, we're going to continue with different steps that are going to help you build a better English. But right now, this is a really important step because right now we are going to be studying with videos and expanding our vocabulary. We are going to give opinions about the video. We are going to pause the video each 30 and 40 seconds and talk. This is the technique that I personally use, that many polyglots use when learning languages. What they do is they put whatever video on the screen, they let it go. Let's say personally, I like videos about investments. So I am going to watch a video about investments, but I'm not going to just watch the video. What I want to do is I want to watch the video 30 seconds, I pause the video, I talk, I give my opinion about what I have seen, about what I am doing, and after that I keep watching the video. After 1 minute later, I do the same and I keep doing the same. So I want to show you how you can do it and how you can apply this strategy. Alright guys, so I want to show you the way you should study in English with videos. So you are going to take any video in YouTube, in any platform, you are going to activate the subtitles here, and after that, you are going to play the video. Okay, so after 22 seconds or after 15 seconds or after the amount of time you want, you are going to pause the video, and after that you are going to start talking about what you saw. It doesn't matter if you didn't understand anything about the video, you are going to describe how are you feeling, um, what did you watch in the video, you are going to talk about the title, the platform, whatever. So in this case, I'm going to talk. So she was saying that to learn English, we need to live English. So this is the best way to improve and to advance. So that's the way you should be talking. And if you don't know a word or if you don't know anything, you go to Google Translate, you translate it and you repeat it. You make like 2 or 3 more phrases so that you can learn it by repetition. And after that, you continue with the video and you do the same. After another 20 seconds, you start to talk, you give your opinion. Remember, give your opinion about the video, about the woman, about the background, about all those things. And you're going to learn a lot of vocabulary. Remember to activate the subtitles so that you can understand in a way, in an easier way, I would say. So that's the main thing that you should do. So this is not a homework that I want to give you, but I want you to watch all the videos you want about the topics that you like and start talking and start giving your opinion about those videos in past, in present, in any tense. Because with that, you will see how in 3 months you are going to be talking a lot. It doesn't matter if you make a lot of mistakes and if it looks difficult at the beginning. You need to persist. Remember that persistence is the main thing here. I was not able to speak all those languages, French, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, English, because there was a secret in the way I learned. That was because I had persistence with these methods. So the main homework for you right now is going to be about watching this video or any video, but remember that it should be a lifestyle. You need to turn this into a lifestyle. You need to know that you need to be watching all the time these videos and talking about them, describing them, and also translating them in Google, translating the things that you are saying in Google Translate. Also, if you don't understand a word, you can always go there and repeat it, but not repeat the word itself, but using the word in any phrase that you are making. Okay? Alright guys, so in this video we're going to talk about the present perfect. But before we get into that, I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys, and to be honest, if you want to learn English because you guys have been having great results, that's great because you are applying every single method that I'm giving to you. But also you need to know that you need to live English. You need to live like if you were in the United States. Of course you can't do it because you are in your country and it's really difficult to do it, but you need to change the way you express yourself. Let's say if in your country you say whatever, let's say if something happened to you and the way you, for example in my country, uh we express feelings in certain way, but I changed that and I started to express those feelings in an English ways, so like so that I can live English. Also the music, also all the devices that you have, the videos that you watch, the TV, the things that you are thinking. In what language are you thinking right now? Those are the things that you need to improve so that you can be an American person. Of course, those tips are for people that want to be like a native, because if you want to speak in English and that's it, you can just take this course and master it and master the techniques that I give you, and that is going to be enough. Alright, so that's what I wanted to say. But you guys have been having great results. I really like that hard work, and as I said before, it's persistence. So the present perfect. So we have that the main thing in the present perfect is have. Okay, I'm talking to, when I talk about these things, I know that you guys studied English before, so that this course is not the first course that you are taking, or maybe it's the first course, but you already know about English. That's why I am going over the topics super quick, so that you can take quick notes, and so that you can improve on the way you study and the way you learn, the way you get the language. This is not for people that are starting from zero, because you can do it and you can master it, but it will take longer time. So, you know, in this case of the present perfect, the main thing is have. So, we have a few examples I have done, I have given it. So, in this case, you are seeing how the verb is changing. That verb is do, but after have, it changes to done, because we have three lists in English. The first one is the present one. Do in present, as you are seeing here. In present, it would be do. In the past, it would be did. And in the present perfect, that would be the past participle, it would be done. I'm not saying anything new, I'm just like trying to uh get you guys ready for what is next. So as we're seeing here, the same with give. Give, gave, given. So whenever we see this one is going to be used after have. I have given it. Attention, because in this case I have is not the same as I have a car, I have uh, my cell phone. It's not the same. This have changes the verb in changes the words. When someone tells you I have done it before, it means that that person did the action in the past and keep doing it, or at least the person has done the action, as I am saying right now, the person has done the action twice or more in the past. That's the way we should use it. So you can practice in the same way that I taught you already how to practice with Google Translator, with videos, and you can just use the main verbs. Don't use a lot of verbs. It's not necessary, because you are going to get lost. So as I was saying before, if it happened two or more times in the past, you use it. For example, I have taken 3 showers this week. I have worked before, because work is something that we do almost every day, so I have worked before. Let's say if your supervisor, let's say that you are in an interview and the employer asks you about your work. He's going to ask you, have you worked in this before? You're going to answer, I have worked before in this, or I have worked in this before. Also, I have played soccer. I have seen that movie. So it's something that we uh, that we are used to do, or that also is something that we did in the past two or more times. So you know already how to study it. I already gave you enough tools. Of course, I'm going to teach you other methods if you didn't like Google Translator and if you didn't like the videos, but take care, because those are the main methods. Of course, I'll teach you more and more, because the polyglots, we know how to learn languages in a different way, not as schools teach everybody. So I hope you understood this topic. Remember, the present perfect is used if you did the action two or more times in the past. If not, just use the normal past. But uh, here in United States, people tend to use a lot this present perfect. Sometimes you will see that they don't follow the rules that I'm telling you right now. So after you watch a lot of videos, and after if you watch my previous video about how you can study this, you are going to master this super quickly, and at the same time with the videos you will know how native speakers speak. Okay, Alright guys, attention here. I don't want you to get confused. Don't use it in the same way that many people use, because I got a lot of messages from you guys, and one of you said, when I was a kid, I have played. So remember, when we talk about the present perfect, and you should know this because if you use Google Translator and videos, you are going to see those examples. Because when I learned English, I never used these, how can I explain to you? I never used like grammatic and, writing and too much reading and those things. I never used that. I just used the videos, and with my logic, I was able to understand that because I wanted that. Okay, so in this part, when I was a kid, I have played. You shouldn't have said that. You should say, when I was a kid, I played without have in this case because present perfect, that's why it says present perfect because we are in the present talking about something that happened in the past and that keeps happening right now or that happened in the past as I show you 2 times or more. This is nothing new, just I am explaining what I said before. I am re-saying that. So when I was a kid, I played. So this would be the correct way to do it. Present perfect, you talk about the past in the present. So right now, as I saw that you guys had a lot of problems with the present perfect, let's study it together. In the next video, I will show you how you can do it in another method. We're not going to use Google Translator, maybe a little bit because that's an important tool, but we're not going to use the videos. We're going to use another one. Okay guys, this is the third method I'm going to show you, and this method is used by polyglots too. All of the methods I'm showing you are used by polyglots, and personally this one is one of my favorite ones because I was able to speak a lot when I was doing this, and by speaking a lot, it helped me a lot because I was able to express myself even better and also improve my reading. Even though I didn't do a lot of reading and writing, but I feel like between the two, reading could be really good if you talk at the same time. Remember, if you want to know how to speak a language, you need to talk and you need to be able to understand. So the present perfect, let's go. Hi, my name is Julia. It has snowed a lot in my town. So the first characteristic that I would like to show you guys is the pronunciation. It has snowed. You don't see there any D or T to pronounce it has snowed. No, it has snowed. And at the same time, you are seeing how this action happened in the past and probably still happens, or it happened in the past multiple times. That's why we're using it has snowed a lot in my town. Attention here because I didn't explain you yet anything about it, she, we, they, he, or she, because I think you know them already, and that's why I did the examples with I. Uh, and also I received a lot of messages from you guys saying that you knew them already. That's why I didn't like emphasized a lot in that part. I used I, but you guys know already that we have other subjects that are going to take place whenever we talk, like she or he, and we already know that he goes with has, he with has, they with have, and also for was and were for the past. But I put a slide in one of the courses, sorry, in one of the videos that explained them. It didn't explain them directly, but at least you were able to see them. But it's the same structure. So, hi Eric, how are you? Here's Hap. Have you played in the snow before? You saw? She asked, have you played in the snow before? The same thing that I said you before. And Eric answers, yes, I have played in the snow many times. He answered, I have played in the snow many times because he has done it before multiple times. You know, if that were just one time, he would have said, yeah, I played in the snow just one time, or I played in the snow in the past. You know, we could use that one. I have played in the snow just when we have done it for multiple times, or when, for example, in, let's say, I have done it multiple times in the past and I still do that. So we could use in that case, I have played. So Eric is my friend. He has got a dog. His name is Sparky. Has Sparky seen the snow before? And Eric answers, yes, he has, because Sparky has seen the snow before multiple times, or at least one time. Remember, I said we could use the present perfect if it happened multiple times in the past, but sometimes you are not going to see the rule being followed like right now. As you can see, has Sparky seen the snow before? She's asking if Sparky has seen the snow before at least one time, and Eric answers yes, he has. But at least if you get the idea of what I told you before, you are going to get the other, like the logic. So here, he hasn't seen the snow before. He hasn't felt the cold yet. He's at home. He have owned him for 2 months. They are talking about the dog. So I have owned him for 2 months. So as you are seeing here, we're using I have owned him for 2 months because he still owns the dog and he owned the dog in the past. That's why we're using the present perfect. And here he hasn't seen the snow yet. And here, really, where has he been before? Where has he been before? He asks that because he's asking about what uh he has been doing in the past. You know, what he did in the past and that he kept doing in the past. So here Julia answered, my father has brought him from Egypt. Okay, so the way you should study this is, you are going to go to the first part here. Hey, my name is Julia. It has snowed a lot in my town. And from that, you can start to talk. You can start to say like, oh, I live in, let's say, I live in French. It has snowed a lot here in French. You see, you can use the same things, the same words, the same structure, but just change the end or the beginning. That's the way you should study, or you can change it. It has rained a lot here in French. Uh, tomorrow is not going to rain. So you can combine different times and you can start making your own story, and talking a lot. So that's the way I like to study because with that I was able to speak a great English and at least I was able to understand myself in the first 3 months. The first 3 months I gained a lot of knowledge and I was able to speak in a really good way and fluently. Of course, I made a few mistakes, but those mistakes were worth it, and I never stressed out. I was never stressed out. Sorry, I was never stressed out because I knew that those mistakes were great for my learning. So you are going to go to Google, look for these stories in the present tense, in the present perfect tense, and you are going to these stories are going to pop up, and after they pop up, uh, you can see them. For example, here. Alright, guys. So in this one, who is she? What has she done? What has happened? Evil Jones lives in Florida in the United States. Their grandchildren live in London, England. They have lived in London for 3 years. Okay, This story is so interesting because they have lived in London for 3 years. I have lived in in France for 4 years. Mabel has not seen her grandchildren in over a year. Um, it is really curious because I haven't seen my parents in over 2 years. That's the way you should play with the words. And I want to let you do the next two paragraphs so that you can practice even more, but remember you need to do this by yourself. Okay guys, in this section of the course, I will teach you about questions and negations in English. Of course, you have an intermediate level, so it means that you already know these things. But I have seen a lot of people that get confused with these topics because they don't know the use of do and the use of the verb to be in questions. And this is super simple. So with this explanation, you are going to be able to solve all the doubts you had about this and also apply this in real life. And after this slide, I will teach you how I will show you the fourth method that you can apply in order to grow your vocabulary and also know how to master these topic questions and negations. So as we can see here, we see that in the first line we have, do you play soccer? So whenever you are using do to ask a question, you are going to use it with verbs. So in this case, the verb is play. So let's say that before you ask the question, you are thinking in your mind, how are you going to ask it? So if in your mind you want to ask something related with a verb, but the verb in the normal way, in this case play, you are going to use do. For example, do you walk every day? Do you cook? Do you watch videos? That's the correct use. And we're going to use are, am, is, was, and were when we have the verb with ing. When we have the verb with ing in this form, we are going to use am, is, are, was, and were. This is the correct way of using this. So when, for example, here, as you can see, I'm asking, are you in the soccer team? In this case, I didn't use any verb, but in this case, I'm using this person to ask where is he, or if he is involved in something. So if that person is involved in something, or if that person is in any place, you are going to use are, is, am, was, or were for the past. Another example would be, is your cousin in that place? Are you in United States? And the previous one would be, are you playing soccer? You see the difference between here, do you play soccer? Sorry, do you see the difference here between do you play soccer and here, are you playing soccer? So to master this, you need to be able to identify the difference between these two things. So again, the first one for do, or in this case, as we can see here, the past would be did you play soccer? Did you go to that event? Did you eat your lunch? You see that we are using the verb without ing, but here it would be, were you playing soccer? Were you eating the lunch? Was your family watching the movie with you? Or was your family with you? So when we talk about places and where you were, you use, in this case, the verb to be. That would be am, is, are, was, or were. And when it comes to do, you use it as I showed you before. So it's super easy. That's the tip that I give to all the students that I have so that they can improve. And I have seen how they have mastered this questions and negations by doing this. So now let's go to the negations. The negations is the same thing, just applying the not. So as you know, if we were to ask a question applying not, it would be don't you play soccer? And the answer would be like you don't play soccer. This one would be the answer. Not of this question, but answer would be you don't play soccer. Or applying the same uh, answer to the verb to be, it would be you are not in the soccer team. It's the same, just applying the not next to the form. In this case, do or did. It would be didn't, or it would be am not, isn't, aren't, wasn't, and weren't. I know that it's super easy for you apply the not, but I have seen a lot of people making this mistake, and I don't know why it happens. If you know how to make the question, you should know how to do the negation too. And when it comes to answering the question, it's super simple. Do you play soccer? The answer would be, yes, I do, or yes, I play soccer. Here in the United States, it is not necessary to, as I have seen in many schools, teachers saying that you need to answer, for example, to this question, you would need to answer, do you play soccer? Yes, I do play soccer. It's not necessary to use this do, and to not get confused, many of my students just say, yes, I play soccer. The same thing with the verb to be. I know that it may not be correct, or it is correct, just that it's not, you would not be answering like a native, but it's a good thing when you are starting. So after this, I will show you the fourth method that I want you to apply to study these questions and negations. Okay, if you didn't understand what I explained you in the previous slide, don't worry. With this fourth method, you are going to be able to improve your English, the way you ask questions, the way you deny, you make those negations, and the way you speak in general. So I remember when I started learning English that I applied this method and my English improved exponentially. So I started learning how to ask questions and how to make negations, and it was super difficult to me. But after that, I learned the same thing that I taught you in the previous slide, and after that, I started reading 4 to 6 news per day. Of course, not too long news, just short news about the topics that I liked. And after that, I started focusing on the questions that the new had. Or let's say that the new doesn't have any question. You are going to create the question by yourself, but you are not going to write it or anything like that. What you are going to do is to think out loud. Okay, so let's say that we have new about, I don't know, about United States. So we have this new and we are reading. So after we finish reading, we start to ask questions to ourselves, and we need to have Google Translator next to us to check out if we are doing it in the correct way. How we know if we are doing it in the correct way? You just need to have Google Translator and check the previous video, the previous slide that I show you how is the correct way. So after reading the new, you are going to summarize what you read, but by summarizing, I mean thinking out loud. You need to speak about what you read, but before speaking, you are going to ask questions about the new. And after you ask those questions, let's say that I read a new about the United States and Empire State. So after I read the article, my first question would be, do I know the Empire State? Do my family want to go to the Empire State? Is my family happy in the Empire State? Questions like that. I know that it's super simple, but it is going to help you a lot. you are going to ask questions about the topic and relating those questions to yourself or asking simple questions. And after that, you are going to answer to them negating. You are going to apply those negations. So you are going to start making negations after you ask those questions. So let's say, uh, do I like the Empire State? No, I don't like it. And I keep talking. No, I don't like it because I think uh it is too big and I don't like big buildings. And you keep talking, you keep summarizing what you read. Let's say that you read about the history of the Empire State, you ask questions, you make those negations, and at the same time you describe what you read. With this method, I was able to improve my English a lot, and I saw how many of my students applied this to their daily lives, and they were able to improve their English in a great way. They started talking to themselves. They were able to understand this topic, the questions and negations, in just 2 weeks because they were reading every single day. Of course, you don't need to read a lot. I see 4 to 6 news, but you can start with 1, 2 per day. That is going to help you a lot for sure. Alright guys, in this part of the course we will talk about will and how to use will. You may be wondering, why are we advancing that fast? I got the answer. We're advancing super fast and I am going over every single topic really quick because as a polyglot, this is the way we learn languages and I'm teaching you how you can be efficient. That's why after every topic, I show you a method so that you can study that. And I want you to combine those methods. Let's say if I told you that you can use this method to practice questions and negations, use the same method to practice the other topics that I show you so that you can combine everything. And if you get confused, you can go over the videos again and you can repeat. Remember that you don't need to memorize anything here. That's why I'm going super fast, because if I were teaching mathematics, it is going to take hours and hours because you need to memorize, you need to practice the problems. But here it is about repetition. That's why I'm not taking too long because I can do the repetition for you. I can show you the path. I can show you how you can walk in that path and you can do it by yourself. So remember that repetition and work by yourself is the most important thing. I remember that my goal at the beginning of the course was to teach you how you can be independent with the language and learn by yourself with the methods and with the easy and fast explanations I have for you. So in this one, how to use will, we will always use will after the subject. What is the subject? He, she, it, I, they, and we. That's why I have the example here. I will, she will. In this case, for question, we know that will, like do, would go first. So would you do the homework? And also as you see here, I will go, would you do, she will make. These examples, there's a really curious characteristic. And this curious characteristic is that after will, we always have a verb. So you can't be confused because you already know that every time that you use will, you will have a verb after it. That's why I have in these examples, I will go, she will make, and the question, would you do the homework? Another examples will be, you know, even when I'm talking, I am giving you examples. You just need to pay attention and practice with that because I will talk a lot about this and as I am doing now, I am teaching you in a direct way, because you are listening to me and Many times, even before explaining this topic, I was already using that, saying will, the things that I was going to do, the things that I will do. That's why you need to be careful with this and know how to do it by yourself. That's why I'm showing you step by step how to do it. So those are the things that you need to know here. Just that after will, you will have a verb, and you may be wondering, okay, but how should I use that if I have I am going to? So we have I am going to and will for the future. I am going to and will are used almost the same here in United States. A normal professor will tell you that will is used uh, for for the long term. Like I will become a doctor. I will go to United States in 10 years. But to be honest, I have had a lot of professors in my college, in my university, that use will even to say normal things like I will go to start this presentation. I will go to start this class. So you can use them as you want. There is no like strict rules. Remember that for no language you have strict rules. You can use it as you want, and of course, with the more you talk, the more you repeat, the better it's going to be for you because you will get adapted to it. And the more videos you listen, the more videos you watch, the more you read, and the more you talk, you will know how to use it. That's why I am not encouraging you to watch my videos for hours, but instead use my methods. Okay? So the use of this is just like going to, you can say I am going to play or I will play. Uh, it is going to take a few minutes. It will take a few minutes. Just remember that don't use it in the same way as I'm going to all the time. You can do it the majority of the time. And you may be asking to yourself, okay, how do I know when to use it? If you see that what you are going to say is in the long term, let's say that you want to become a doctor, you must say I will become a doctor instead of I am going to, because I am going to could be something that is going to happen in the short term. So will is kind of for the long term, but remember that there is no problem if you use it for the short term or even for today. Okay, one of you guys sent me a message about this topic: must, should, may, might, could, because you were saying that I am using those words every time that I talk, and it's true. I use them because those are great tools to speak in English, and those are tools that you should apply to your life too. So when it comes to its use, here we have the first one, as you can see here, must. So how are we going to use must? First of all, it goes after the subject. I think everybody knows that already, that it always goes after I, he, she, we, they, it. So it would be we must, I must, they must. It is unchanged, meaning that it doesn't change. So must, in this case, is like have, something you have to do. So if I am going to say, I must clean my house, I am saying that I must do that. I have to do that. It's an obligation. And also normally, and this is the case after this, you will always have a verb because you are describing something that you are going to do. In this case with must, something that you have to do is an obligation. When it comes to should, this one, all these use the same rules as I just told you. And with should, This one is not an obligation. It's something that you could do, you know. For example, if I tell you you should clean your room, uh, how you are going to get it, how you are going to receive the message is in this way. You are going to think that what I'm saying is not super necessary, it's not super mandatory to do. Let's say that your mother tells you you must clean your room. If she's using must, it means that you have to do it because it's an obligation. And when it comes to should, it's not an obligation. So let's say someone tells you you should take this transportation. It means that it's an option, you can do it, but it's not something that it is obligated for you to do it. And when it comes to could, it's almost the same as should. These are like suggestions. In could also we need to know that because I have seen this mistake in a lot of students, you need to know that could can be used as the past of can, so we can use that one as the past of can, and also we can use that one as a suggestion. As I told you before, you can use should or you can use could. And when it comes to may and might, these two are similar and these two represent suggestions, but these suggestions are not like should because should is, I would say, a kind suggestion. This one might would be like can. They are, if they tell you you may do that, it means that it's something that you can do, but it's not the same meaning as can. It's a little bit less. But of course, in the daily use, we don't think about it. We just use the words. The must use ones are of course must, should, could, and can. May and might too, but may and might have the same meanings almost as can and could. Could and should, remember, they are not obligations. They are just like um something that you can do. You have the option to do it, but it's not like must that you have to do it. So as I said before, there is no strict rule, and I will show you a great technique that you can use to practice this and also to practice this with will. Alright guys, in this presentation I will show you how you can study will and also how you can study the different words I show you in the previous presentation: should, must, could, can, and may and might. So what you're going to do is every day you are going to say 10 things you will do in 1 week, month, or day, and combine these with the questions and aspirations and with the previous topic. So how you're going to combine everything? You are going to say, uh, let's say that you want to become an accountant. You will say, I will become an accountant. Should I become an accountant? And you're going to answer, yes, I must become an accountant because I like it and also because I will learn a lot about the market, and you're going to keep doing. You're going to do the same thing that I just said, but you are going to do it by yourself. When I said saying 10 things you will do, you are going to say 10 things, but every single phrase that you are going to make needs to have questions, aspirations, will, should, and all these topics. So you're going to imagine what you're going to say probably is going to take a little bit of time because you need to get used to these methods so that you can become a great English speaker. And after you can get used to it, you can make combined phrases at the same time and not getting lost. So this is going to be one of the methods that I encourage you to use every single day, also with the videos and with the other ones that I have shown you, because with this you can be talking all the time and using all the words that I showed you before at the same time. in all the tenses. So if you have any question, let me know and I will teach you how you can do it in a better way. If you didn't understand how to study with the previous method, this is the way you should do it. So you are going to copy this and after that create. So this one would be the first phrase. I will become an English speaker because I could. As you can see, I used already will and I used already could. I could work in a big company and my parents should, that should is the one that we saw before, should be proud of me. And after that, the questions, are my parents going to be proud of me? And the answer, yes, they must be proud. I missed the negation, but you can put the negation next to must. They must not be proud. It doesn't matter if what you are saying is not true, you can create, you can invent a lot of situations, a lot of imaginary scenarios in which you can use all the words that I show you in all the tenses. So you can use this one. This will be the first phrase, the whole text, and I ask you to do 10 of them so that you can improve a lot. So what you can do is you can copy this and you can start speaking by yourself and you can change, let's say, instead of become an English speaker, become a doctor, or instead of using could, you can use should or may or might. So that's the way uh, you can advance even faster. So with these tools, you are going to be able to use better must, should, would, and you will understand even better how to ask questions because you are asking questions about things that happened or that you are saying. Not just taking a look at my screen and seeing the questions. You are actually making them. And when it comes to the answer, this exercise is really good because you can be creative and you can expand your vocabulary. Remember that we are not only practicing the tenses, but also we are practicing English itself. Not only the tenses, will, should, and those things, you are also increasing your vocabulary. So if you don't know what was proud, you can look for it in Google Translator. You can, if you don't know what was a company or those things, you can use it. And as you can see, we're using because, we are using and we're using these connectors that I show you how to use them in the first 3 videos of the course. So this is a great tool and I hope you are going to use it in your daily life to improve your English. Okay guys, I will teach you one of the most difficult topics in English, had and would have. So to start off with had, we already know that we use had with the verbs in past participle. That's why, as we are seeing right now, in this first example, I put I had and after that done. So remember, do would be the present, did would be the past, done would be the past participle. So when it comes to the present perfect, that it was I have done, and the past perfect, that is I had done, we will always use the third part of the list that are the verbs in past participle. So as you can see here, we're going to use this tense normally when we're talking about the past, but something happens. So that's why you will always see after, the phrase I had done my homework or I had done whatever thing, you will always see that something like before is going to be after the first phrase. So you need to remember that if you are going to say something like, I had studied before you came, you need to use the past perfect. You can't say, um, I have studied before you came because it's going to sound weird. So, one of the connectors that we always use when it comes to the past participle are before, when, also we use after, we use but. So, every time that you want to say something in the past, but something happens, and you want to use any word like before, when, after, or connectors like that that make changes, you use uh, the past perfect, because the past perfect is going to help you explain something that you were doing and something happened, or something you did in the past and something is going to happen, but normally everything is going to happen in the past. It's not like the present perfect that I explained to you already how you should use it. So, as I told you, you are going to use the verbs in past participle, and here you have another example. He hadn't seen that when you told me, so every time you have the phrase and the phrase ends, if you have when, after, before, um, or other connectors, you are going to use the past perfect. That's the way you should use it. And now going over the would have and had, you need to know that would have represents something that you would have done. That's the way you should use it. So would have is to talk about things you could do in the past, but maybe you didn't do it, or maybe that you wish uh, you would have done that. So in this case, if we're going to use if, after if, we need to use had. In this case, because we have one if, we're going to use had practiced. In this case, had the verb in participle, in past participle. But this means the same as would have, just that remember, this had here is not the same had as the past participle, because this had, as you can see, there is no if at the beginning of the sentence, instead of here, unlike here that we have if at the beginning of the sentence. So we have this if, it means that we need to use had. We are not going to use would have, even though many people use it. Many people say, if I would have done it, but this is not the correct use. So if you want to learn faster, of course you can use it, because maybe you can get confused using this had after the if. So if you don't know how to use it, just practice, try to learn every time that you have an if, you should use had. But if you don't get used to that, there's no any problem if you use would have after if. So we have this example here. If I had practiced English, I would have learned more. So you see here, it goes linked to a desire, something that you could have done, something that you could do, but maybe you didn't do it. When we use would have, we will always have a verb in past participle after the have. So in this case, in another example, we can see, if I had been there, I would have enjoyed the concert. So as you can see, after the had, we had the verb in past participle, and after this, we had the verb in past participle too. Of course, you can use Google Translator, translate it to your language, and know what it means. Because in my case, if I were to translate this to my language, Spanish, I would understand how to use it, because it's the same use in every single language. The only thing that is going to change are the words and the structure a little bit. But if you translate this word in your language, you will understand what it means, and you will understand how you would use that word in your language. So it's the same use. Don't just get confused or scared because you don't know how to use it. Just try to play that game using the methods that I told you, and with that, you are going to be able to master this. Even though this tense is not used a lot in even in your language. In your countries, you don't say this all the time. And here in the United States, I have seen a lot of people uh, that know how to speak very well, but they get confused when it comes to this tense because we don't use that one too much. That's why those people sometimes get confused because remember, repetition is the best thing you should do to learn anything. And if you don't repeat this tense, of course, you are going to forget like those people. So just practice, repeat, and translate it. Know about the verbs too. So here I want to show you the verbs that you can use, and you can find these tables in Google just by typing list of verbs in the past tense and past participle. So as we can see here, there are a few verbs that are not going to be changed even though they are in past participle or past, like cut. Cut is going to be in the past cut, and past participle cut too. But as we saw before, do, did, done, that one is going to change. And there are a few of them that are going to have the same combination in the past, like fight, fought, fought. As you can see here, like failed, failed, they are the same. But you need to know that this past is going to be different as this past, just that this one we use without um, any like connector behind, and this one we use if we have present perfect, past perfect, or anything like that. The same with found and with all the verbs that you have here. Here I'm showing you a few verbs that don't have ed, but I already show you that whenever we have a verb that you know is irregular or regular, you need to make sure that you learn them because you need to learn the most important ones. It's not super useful to learn all of the verbs because many of them are not useful or many of them are not used in your daily life. So make sure you do learn them. And also, if you have difficulties, I already show you a technique that is used by polyglots when learning English. And we, instead of trying to combine these verbs with these past participles and past tenses, we just put ed to everything. So it would be feel it. But remember that it doesn't have d or t at the end, so we pronounce felt. But that's just a technique used by people that know how to learn other languages. You can use it too, but know that it's not the correct way of doing that, and it is just temporarily. Okay, so I am going to go over this real quick because we gotta talk about the phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are one of the most important things that we should learn when it comes to learning English because they are really used by people living here, and also they are really useful when talking because you can express yourself even better, and also you can know how to say many things that maybe in your language you can't say, but here you can because you can combine the verbs and form new meanings. So before we start with that, I would like to show you this. After we have if, and in this case, if I were you, you would ask me like, instead of were, we should use was, but we use were to, you know, like if we were imagining if we were that person. Like if you were that person, if you were that person, you are making an assumption. So you are imagining that you are that person. That's why we are using were in this case. We will always use were if we are making assumptions, and if we are imagined we are the other person. It doesn't matter if we are using I, they, we, you, or it. It is going to be necessary to use were. Many people, instead of using were, they use was, uh, but it's not the correct way of doing that. So you can use were after if. So if I were you, I would do that. It's making assumptions. So that's the correct way. The same with other verbs. If we are making assumptions, every time that in English we make an assumption, we tend to use if at the beginning. So it doesn't matter if the if is at the beginning of the test or in the middle, or it doesn't matter. If we are going to start making assumptions, we need to change the verb. So in this case, there's another assumption. As you can see here, if I did it in that way, you know, blah blah blah, it would continue saying another thing like here. If he practiced it, he would be the best. We are making assumptions. So it's the same, it doesn't matter which verb we are using. So in this case, we are using did. That would be the second part of the list. Remember that we have do, did, and done. So in this case, we would be using the past. So here, if she tried it, she would love it, you know? So remember that it is to make suggestions, assumptions, and we need to use the verb in the past. Of course, these ones are not super used, but it's really important so that you can know how to speak a complete English and not only speaking with the most important things of the language. Okay, guys, now we're going to talk about the phrasal verbs. Many people have a lot of problems with this because they think this is really difficult because they are not normal verbs, and normally they get confused because, for example, here take means one thing, but if we combine this with take out, the meaning is going to change completely. It's going to be different, even though the combination of the verb with the past and past participle is going to be the same. So in this case, take, the past would be took. So it's going to be the same. Took out. Or past participle, taken. Taken out. So even though the verb is going to be unchanged because it keeps being the same, um, many people have a lot of problems with that. And I understand them because I had those problems too when I was starting. And for that, I have two apps for you that are going to help you master this, that are going to explain to you in a really fun way because I like the way the apps explain to me when I uh, came across this topic. So first of all, the phrasal verbs are just normal verbs, but they are combined with this out, up, around, down, after, and more. So the way you should learn them is, by repeating, by using the methods that I show you, and just by using them in your daily life. Of course, if you are in another country that is not United States, it's going to be more difficult, but by listening, you will understand them. So you are going to learn the most important ones. There are other phrasal verbs. In total, there are like 100, but it's not necessary to learn all of them just by repetition. If you hear, let's say bring up in one video, you just repeat it and try to learn that one. If you never hear turn down, don't use it because we need to know and learn the essentials of the language. It's not necessary to learn things that we will never use like the animals or the name of many countries or let's say food. Those are things that we will never use. That's why I didn't teach you those things because you can learn them throughout the time using videos and in your daily life. So when it comes to the phrasal verbs, uh, it is used like if that were a verb. So the use is not going to change and you are going to use them as if they were normal verbs just by adding around, up, out, and meaning is going to change. So the apps that I'm going to recommend you are these two. You can find them by according to their image because they are both almost called the same phrasal verbs and phrasal cards. In these two, you are going to have, a better way of learning because they are going to show you the phrasal verbs, the explanation, when to use it, how to use it, and they are going to show you, yeah, the most important thing is that they are going to show you the most important ones. They are not going to show you other ones that are not used by anyone. So I hope you understood the use, what were them, and you are going to download these apps so that you can improve it and by repetition get a better understanding of them. Okay guys, now we're going to talk about the phrasal verbs. Many people have a lot of problems with this because they think this is really difficult because they are not normal verbs, and normally they get confused because, for example, here take means one thing, but if we combine this with take out, the meaning is going to change completely. It's going to be different, even though the combination of the verb with the past and past participle is going to be the same. So in this case, take, the past would be took. So it's going to be the same. Took out. Or past participle, taken. Taken out. So even though the verb is going to be unchanged because it keeps being the same, um, many people have a lot of problems with that. And I understand them because I had those problems too when I was starting, and for that, I have two apps for you that are going to help you master this, that are going to explain to you in a really fun way because I like the way the apps explain to me when I uh, came across this topic. So first of all, the phrasal verbs are just normal verbs, but they are combined with this out, up, around, down, after, and more. So the way you should learn them is, by repeating, by using the methods that I show you, and just by using them in your daily life. Of course, if you are in another country that is not United States, it's going to be more difficult, but by listening, you will understand them. So you are going to learn the most important ones. There are other phrasal verbs. In total, there are like 100, but it's not necessary to learn all of them just by repetition. If you hear, let's say bring up in one video, you just repeat it and try to learn that one. If you never hear turn down, don't use it because we need to know and learn the essentials of the language. It's not necessary to learn things that we will never use, like the animals or the name of many countries, or let's say food. Those are things that we will never use. That's why I didn't teach you those things, because you can learn them throughout the time using videos and in your daily life. So when it comes to the phrasal verbs, uh, it is used like if that were a verb. So the use is not going to change, and you are going to use them as if they were normal verbs, just by adding around, up, out, and the meaning is going to change. So the apps that I'm going to recommend you are these two. You can find them by according to their image because they are both almost called the same phrasal verbs and phrasal cards. In these two, you are going to have, a better way of learning because they are going to show you the phrasal verbs, the explanation, when to use it, how to use it, and they are going to show you, yeah, the most important thing is that they are going to show you the most important ones. They are not going to show you other ones that are not used by anyone. So I hope you understood the use, what were them, and you are going to download these apps so that you can improve it and by repetition get a better understanding of them. Okay guys, now we're going to talk about the phrasal verbs. Many people have a lot of problems with this because they think this is really difficult because they are not normal verbs, and normally they get confused because, for example, here take means one thing, but if we combine this with take out, the meaning is going to change completely. It's going to be different, even though the combination of the verb with the past and past participle is going to be the same. So in this case, take, the past would be took. So it's going to be the same. Took out. Or past participle, taken. Taken out. So even though the verb is going to be unchanged because it keeps being the same, um, many people have a lot of problems with that, and I understand them because I had those problems too when I was starting. And for that, I have two apps for you that are going to help you master this, that are going to explain to you in a really fun way because I like the way the apps explain to me when I uh, came across this topic. So first of all, the phrasal verbs are just normal verbs, but they are combined with this: out, up, around, down, after, and more. So the way you should learn them is, by repeating, by using the methods that I show you, and just by using them in your daily life. Of course, if you are in another country that is not United States, it's going to be more difficult, but by listening, you will understand them. So you are going to learn the most important ones. There are other phrasal verbs. In total, there are like 100, but it's not necessary to learn all of them just by repetition. If you hear, let's say bring up in one video, you just repeat it and try to learn that one. If you never hear turn down, don't use it because uh, we need to know and learn the essentials of the language. It's not necessary to learn things that we will never use, like the animals or the name of many countries, or let's say food. Those are things that we will never use. That's why I didn't teach you those things, because you can learn them throughout the time using videos and in your daily life. So when it comes to the phrasal verbs, uh, it is used like if that were a verb. So the use is not going to change, and you are going to use them as if they were normal verbs, just by adding around, up, out, and the meaning is going to change. So the apps that I want to recommend you are these two. You can find them by according to their image, because they are both almost called the same: phrasal verbs and phrasal cards. In these two, you are going to have, a better way of learning, because they are going to show you the phrasal verbs, the explanation, when to use it, how to use it, and they are going to show you, yeah, the most important thing is that they are going to show you the most important ones. They are not going to show you other ones that are not used by anyone. So I hope you understood the use, what were them, and you are going to download these apps so that you can improve it, and by repetition get a better understanding of them. Yes, guys, it is possible to learn a language without books, without help, without a professor, without a school, just by yourself in your country, with probably friends and people around you talking to you in other languages. It is possible to learn a language just by yourself. Remember to use my methods. Remember to talk all the time. If you don't talk by yourself, if you don't think in English, you are not going to be able to master it. By thinking in English, it is going to take, of course, a time, because this is not memorizing. This is not learning mathematics, science. This is learning another language. You need to get used to that. And as you watch my video already, I was able to speak 5 languages in just 3 years using these methods with every single language. If you do this every single day, you are going to be, I would say, you are going to have like a 90% of knowledge of the language in just 6 months, or even less, 4 months. Because the more you master the methods, the better it's going to be for you. And of course, I didn't go over many topics in English that were not necessary for me, because I learned these other topics by myself, just using Google Translator and using the videos, because you will realize that by watching those videos in English that I told you and many videos that you are going to find, you are going to find a lot of ways to say something, or you're going to find a lot of vocabulary, a lot of things that probably you didn't see in this course. But remember that my first goal in this course was to teach you how you can learn English by yourself, how you can think by yourself. I was like a professor for you, but I was not like a school that wanted that you to become dependent on me. That's why I want you to become independent, keep following this beautiful path, and I know that in 5 to 6 months I am going to receive a lot of messages from you uh, telling me that you guys were able to master English 100%. Of course, for you guys, I know that you have a great knowledge in English, just that you are stuck or you have a basic level. So I think for you it's going to take like 3 months to 2 months if you apply this every single day. For someone that is going to start from zero, it's going to take from 6 to 8 or to a year, and to master it completely, of course, it's going to take like 2 years to become a complete native. But you can become a complete native by following every single advice, every single tip that I gave you. Because to be honest, I have been speaking English for more than 2 years now. 3 years, sorry, and it has been a great experience. Of course, I am not perfect. I am, I keep studying every single day in the same way that I did before, but I don't study. I just watch the things that I love, and if there's a word or a form that I didn't know before, I just repeat it and use the methods that I show you. Because after you have a good understanding of whatever language, you are going to be able to understand the forms and the past and everything super quick, so you're not going to have any problem with that. I hope you loved this course, show this to many people, share this, and I wish you luck in your life and in other languages that you're going to learn in the future. Thank you.